Sometimes people may outgrow things too quickly, and you believe you outgrew something. And yeah, Melyssa Ford has had, this long career, started, we came to know her as a video vixen, and then she kind of transitioned out of that, and now we get to hear. And I know she did another podcast before with Jason Lee. That's one of the clips and everything that we've been seeing going around and everything. And her own kind of podcast, I think, before or after that. But as far as in this space, this is her introduction in this space and our reintroduction to who she is. And she said that, she want to be an actress and she want to do things in media. They call her like the attempt at being a black Barbara Walters. I don't think that's nice. But still, you can see that her podcast and the Joe Budden Podcast are drastically different. They're not the same things. They're not the same topics. They're not even the same presentation of her. She's so fresh and new, at least to the new eyes in this space. I think that trying to outgrow the podcast and just be like, all right, I'm gonna go in my own lane now, it may be too early and a detriment to it. Now, I think it's a lot different than when Worry and Maul left and they started their own thing. They had about almost 5-6 years of equity built in with the fans. The fans were a lot more interested in what would happen next. And yes, of course, there was a big side of, okay, we just want to see them fail. And that's what you get when you have a connection with these people that you've been listening to and watching 2 days a week for 4 or 5 years. I don't think with Melyssa Ford is that same situation. That's completely different than if we are just new and fresh to you in this space, and now after a year or so be like, all right, I got what I needed, boom, I'm gone, I'm gonna start my own thing. I don't think that works like that. If you haven't had that much time to really allow the fans into your world, then when you leave, yeah, they might care for a second, but really a lot of people are there and just caring to see you fail. Sure, I mean, Melyssa's beautiful and she's been part of this culture for a long time, but you learn a very different lesson when you go out and jump off the porch in your own way. And I'm speaking from not any of the stances of all the things that we're hearing online about, well, maybe it has something to do with Mark, or maybe it has something to do with Imani, or maybe all of it and all the time. I don't think that has anything to do with it, because specifically because of Joe. The situation before that, with Olivia Dope, when he was making the network and everything, and that whole situation occurred, and we kind of heard about it afterwards, after everything had dissolved. But I think all of those things along the road allowed him to learn and to kind of circumvent himself for this situation. That's why I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't think that any of this has to do with a possible lawsuit coming or anything that Mandy and everybody else is saying online, because I think that he has protected himself for that.
You gotta motivate yourself, man. Who else gonna do it?